My name is Joel Sumner, and I believe that we have a huge problem in our society. That problem being democracy. If we take a look and see what democracy actually means, it quite literally means majority rule. And majority rule is the same thing as mob rule. So in our current system, what we do is we impose the majority's will over the rights of the minority. In a just system of law, the majority will not be able to impose their will on the minority, because what the minority will be able to do is apply to the king for help to stop the majority from imposing their will on him or her, because his rights or her rights are being trampled upon. If we also take a look at our system today, in many criminal trials, we have a judge sitting alone. Well, if a judge sits alone in a criminal trial, in a democracy like we have today, it's not entirely clear what's really happening underneath the hood. In a monarchy, it actually becomes a lot more clear. What you have is you have tyranny, because you have a judge who represents the king. You then have a jury who's actually the judge, so that's the king. And then you have the executioner, which is the penal system, and that's the king. So the king is judge, jury, and executioner. That's tyranny. When you actually have a monarchy and you have a just system of law, you clearly recognize how fast that's tyranny, and you want to change the system to say, what do we need? We need a jury of that person's peers. This way, we now have the king sitting as judge, the king sitting as executioner, but the king does not sit as jury. Also, if we changed our focus from the Constitution to the anti-corruption laws, what we would realize is that we don't actually need a constitution. The anti-corruption laws solve every problem the Constitution provides. So to start, take a look at our judges today. In many countries, judges don't wear wigs, and judges actually have name tags. So if I wanted to bribe a judge, I know who to bribe. He's wearing a name tag, or the name tags are clearly available in front of him. So if we change the system to a kingdom, you'll start to recognize the judges will start to wear wigs. And the reason being is because that judge does not represent himself. That judge represents His Majesty the King. And because that judge represents the king, he shouldn't be identified. That way, how would I even know who to bribe? As such, in order to go from a system that we have today, which is riddled with corruption, to a system of justice, what we need to do is focus on the anti-corruption laws and change our system to one of a monarchy instead of a democracy. Long live the king.